Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Taylor and Momo. I'm Momo.
I'm Taylor, if you couldn't deduct that reasoning.
Sorry, we're in the same outfits that we were in the last video. We're just trying to get some videos out, so because we haven't recorded in a while. So, but this video is our views on what?
Mental health days. We've been having this discussion a lot because we've been talking about our future with kids. And as you
This
know,
is a big topic these days recently.
And as you know, Momo's a therapist, and I'm going back to school to become a special education teacher.
So we have a teacher and a therapist in a room.
Or if you think about it, somebody who's worked with kids all her life.
I have also worked with kids.
But not all your life.
Not all my life.
And
for
a therapist. Yes.
Yeah.
So, do you want to state your reasoning, or do you want me to state mine?
Like state my views?
Yeah.
I'll go first.
Okay.
So, something that I've learned from my job, like in the past few years, is it's important to take care of us, take care of our own mental health, because as a mental health provider, if you're not fully yourself, if you're not fully okay, you're not able to be present in a room. So, for example, like, let's say I'm having a rough day, right? And I just need to take off. Like, I'm so burnt out to the point of like, I just can't do it for a day, right? I thankfully have three really good supervisors who are understanding and will be like, okay, Mo, just go home, take the day off, breathe, come back tomorrow if you're feeling better. And I feel like that's important because we don't want to overwork. We don't want to overwhelm ourselves because if we do that, we can't take care of others. We can't do the work that we need to get done. We're not present, right? So I know Tay has different views about this, but I think if my child were to come to me one day and say like, hey, Mom, like, I'm feeling this, and this, like, I've been having a rough time. Okay, we can talk about it, but I feel like I would still say, go to school. I know that goes against what I just said, but I would make sure they're getting the support they need, right? If they're not seeing a therapist, I would find them a therapist, right? So make sure like they're still getting their education, but also at the same point to see like to see if we're really really bad to the point where we're having like suicidal thoughts, that might be a different intervention, right? Like I might say, okay, can you stay home for this one day so we can like take you to the hospital? I don't know, like something like that. But if they're just having like anxiety about a test, like it's okay, you can do these things before your test, try your best, it's okay. And then treat them to something nice after school, right? Like, does that make sense?
No.
Oh.
You just switched over to my side.
What?
You just said you would make them still go to school. That's my side.
No, I'm saying treat them to something nice after school.
I know, but you just said you'd still make them go to school and that you wouldn't do a mental health day.
It's like, it depends on for me, it depends on like what the circumstances, right? If they're having anxiety about a test, I say send them to school. right?
Mhm.
Because I can give them stuff to do before the test, right? If they're having suicidal thoughts and they're gonna like hurt themselves if they go to school, that's a different story, right? Does that make sense?
See, my whole point of it is now training to be an educator. I know it takes, if a kid misses one day of school, right? It takes them 3 days to catch up for that one day of school. So it's better to send them to school instead of having them take a mental health day. Now, it's different if they have to miss for like a funeral
Yeah.
or a family event, or if the doctor says they're super sick and need to be at home, or they have a fever, or they were up all night puking. But, like, you know,
I think this is where most of our arguments will lie.
but,
To
like,
be honest.
you know, if they come to me and say, Mom, I'm anxious, I'm gonna be like, get your butt to school. You don't have 100-degree fever.
But what if our kid comes to you and says, I'm having suicidal thoughts and I'm going to hurt myself if I go to school? You're going to tell them to me.
I'll be like, talk about it in therapy. Well, I would literally call their therapist and be like, you got any openings later? Because this is what's happening.
You're going to let me handle that situation.
Or I'd call 211. Doug gave me the 211 number. I call the 211 and I threaten 211 on them. And be like, I'll call 211. Get your ass in the hospital.
I think they're going to come to me with that one. But if they came to me with that one, I would say, okay, what's going on? What's causing these thoughts? How can I support you? Right? Because that's how a therapist speaks.
No, you call 211 because they're gonna cause harm to themselves and you get them in the fucking psych ward.
Yes. And I rush them to the ER. Because then they're not going to school if I'm taking them to the hospital. If they're threatening their life, I'm taking you to the hospital. You're missing school for that. But what I'm trying to say is, like, I think mental health is really important.
It's important, but, like, if they're gonna come to me and say they're anxious
Yes.
and want to stay home, I'm gonna be like, no, you're getting your ass to school.
Yeah.
Or if they're coming to me and saying, I'm depressed, I want to stay home, be like, no, get your ass to school.
Because then they're just isolating themselves.
Yeah.
The biggest thing with depression, you need to interact with others. Because, like, if you isolate, then you're just doing more harm to yourself.
Or if they say to me, the biggest one is gonna be, like, so and so doesn't like me. He likes somebody else.
Yeah.
I want to stay home. I'll be like, too bad. Get your ass to school. That's my comeback for everything. I'm just gonna tell them to get their ass to school.
That's why they're gonna be coming to me. Because I have more leeway with my job to, like, work from home, so I think I'll be the mom that's home more compared to Tay.
Well, yeah, because all my kids require me to be there to put their intervention plans into place, to do their therapies and everything, and to do their make sure their IEPs are being implemented, their 504 plans are being implemented, and also I have to do PPT meetings. So it's like.
So Tay's gonna be out for most of the days. So I will be in charge of the kids probably more.
Mom, make me sound like an absent mom. I'm gonna be the one birthing them.
What I meant, ma'am, was that, like, your job makes you be at school more.
Yeah.
Where my job has flexibility to be remote, or God forbid a kid gets sick at school, I can easily go pick them up. I can easily leave work and go pick them up, right? So that's a good thing about my job is
until one of her college students that has psychosis comes in and starts saying one of these random things.
Yeah. So I think we're similar, but also different in the way of, like, we both believe mental health is important. We both believe it's important to get the help you need to improve your mental health. But I think
I'm gonna be stricter about
I
them going
think
to
Tay
school.
is going to be more strict about them going to school. Um, I think I'll cave more.
Because would you rather them work on stuff for 1 day or 3 days?
1 day.
Exactly. There you go.
But also, I don't know. It's a tough one for me because I am a mental health professional, and my students who I see at in the college, they're just so like it's debilitating for them to get out of bed. Like I see those kind of kids, so sometimes their professors are very understanding and let them take a day off. And it only takes them a day to get the work done, and they're fine.
Yeah, but that's college kids. These are like little ones, or like
No, I'm saying when our
middle
kids
schools and high schoolers.
Yeah.
Like,
but I think it depends on the kid.
College is different.
I think it depends on the kid. I think it depends on the situation. But if it's just like an excuse to get out of it, to get excused out of a test, I don't think that's value. Like, okay, right? Just don't be like me and put a hair dryer against your forehead to get out of school when both of your parents are doctors because they called BS on that right away. So hopefully our kids don't do that.
Oh no. Our kids are gonna be like me. All through 6th grade, because I didn't like that the girls bullied me, I would like go to the nurse's office and complain of a stomach ache. And then
oh no.
And then the school finally called my pediatrician and told him to check me out. And so then I got diagnosed Tums. No, I got diagnosed Tums. So then I had to go to the nurse's office
and get Tums
at the beginning of like our long lunch. So we had a long period. So 5th period was a long period. So because it had the 3 waves of lunch. So mine would be like the first chunk would be our like silent reading, then the second chunk would be our actual language arts, and then the 3rd period was our lunch. So the like first chunk, since that was our silent sustained reading time, I would have to go and take the tomes. Because my pediatrician was like, it's stress, and her dad has acid reflux, so the stress is probably causing the acid reflux to act up, because acid reflux is genetic. Yeah, so I had to take Tums all throughout middle school.
I'm sorry. But I think when we're at that point in our future, when we have kids and we're stuck,
I will know that they are going to the nurse's office because they're getting bullied if they go say they have a stomach for like 2 weeks in a row.
But I think at the end of the day, Tay and I will be able to communicate about what is best for our kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think mental health is important. Get the support you need to best support through those moments, and there's counselors at school. But my biggest advice, if there's parents watching our videos, right, like if your kid comes to you, and just assess the situation. Don't just assume the worst or the best or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Talk to their teachers, talk to their friends.
Definitely communicate with teachers. Teachers want to know, like,
what's going on.
Every little bit. So, like, don't be afraid to, like, tell the teacher, hey, my child told me this is going on. Like,
Can you keep an eye on them at school?
Can you keep an eye on them? Or, like, don't be afraid to also ask the teacher, because sometimes kids lie. Not calling out any kids, but sometimes they do, especially, like, at a certain age group. They, like to test boundaries between teacher and parent because they know they both control different situations.
Mm-hmm.
So don't be afraid to say to the teacher, like, hey, my kid told me this is happening. Have you seen anything, or what is actually happening?
Yeah.
And
like, also,
if the teacher says, like, oh, I haven't seen anything, or oh, this is actually happening, then you know. Like,
and also if a teacher comes to you first, right, and tells you, oh, I've noticed this at school, like so and so is like not as talkative in class or not participating in class as much. So then you have a conversation with your child, right? Like, I think we would talk to each other first,
yeah,
and then sit them down and be like, hey, we just want to make sure you're okay. Is everything okay? You can talk to us. What do you need?
I put my preschool teachers, kindergarten teacher, and first grade teacher through hell because I had selective mutism, which meant so basically selective mutism is you don't talk in certain social situations. So I wouldn't talk in school, and my preschool didn't. And when I was 2 and 3, they just thought I was nonverbal. When I was 4, they thought I might have autism, so they put me with a paraprofessional, and the paraprofessional was like, doesn't have autism. By the end of the year, she was like, doesn't have autism. So then when I was 5, my elementary school retested me for autism and, like, was like, doesn't have autism. So then they gave me a selective mutism test because that was, like, the new thing. There's a separate test for selective mutism. And I got diagnosed with selective mutism, like, right on the dot. And my kindergarten teacher, it was her first year teaching ever. So this poor woman, I, like, totally destroyed her by the end of it. She had to learn sign language. Me and her both had to learn sign language with the speech therapist, so I would be able to communicate with her. And then I'm pretty sure she didn't come back to teach kindergarten at our school because of that, because I never saw her again. And then in first grade, they gave me, like, the nicest old lady teacher ever, Mrs. McCausland. She's now Mrs. Mole, so she was great. And our whole classroom was Clifford, and she learned sign language and I communicated with her, but then she would also, like, come to our house and she would, like, do my homework with me and play with me once a week. And that got me, like, talking a little bit, at least to her. I wouldn't talk to any of the other kids, but I would at least talk to her. And there's a funny story about how me and my best friend Henry became friends. Maybe we'll do a video on that. It's a funny story, actually. And then in second grade, the night before, my dad, he bribed me with a TV because I saw my best friend had a TV in her room. And he bribed me with a TV if I talked on the first day of second grade. And so my second grade teacher called on me to try to force me to talk. And I talked, and everybody acted like, you know, a meteor had hit the school. They were all shocked that I had talked. And then I go to my dad, and I was like, look, I have a note that said I talked. And I didn't get that TV till 5th grade Christmas. But, yeah, definitely, like, recommend talking to your kids' teachers and everything. It's definitely something that works and helps and all that fun stuff. Momo, you have anything else to say?
Nope.
But yeah, mental health days. We pretty much went all the way around. We did mental health days, we did kids with disabilities, we did everything. I just did my research paper on selective mutism actually for school. So, I'm almost texting while we're trying to film. Really feeling the love, guys. Alright, guys, so that's our video on views of mental health days. Comment down below what your view on mental health days is, whether it's for work, your kids at school, yourself in school, whatever it is. Alright, guys, like, comment, share, subscribe, and peace out.
Bye.